The other day, I did a session with Tanya around this idea of the scale, scaffold, and the different stages of business that you're going to be going through as you scale your business. And so often I'm seeing providers that are playing in the wrong stage of where they're at. Either they are smaller and trying to do the things that they see larger businesses doing, and it's absolutely destroying them, or they're larger and they're doing the things that got them there because it's what they know and they're comfortable with, but it's burning them out. It's like they're in way too high a gear on their bike and they're pedaling way too hard. So what I have here are 4 cards that outline 4 different growth plateaus that I've witnessed with providers over the last 6 years as they step through this scale scaffold. Let's look at these really quickly. The first one is mindset at the bottom there. It is fundamental about you having a very clear understanding of the decisions you're making inside your head, why you're making them, how you do it. And if we don't start with our own mindset about money, about how we can help people, about how other people we can collaborate, work, all this sort of stuff, then we're always going to sabotage our own business and end up destroying it because we don't have the right mindset in how we're operating. Number 2 is knowing the market. If we don't know the market, then you're going to be making decisions based off information from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and you're not following where things are going. This is not about fear. This is about having a really clear plan based off what's happening, being able to look at trends that have happened in the past and see where these things are likely to take us in the future. We're not going to sit here and go, oh, the sky is falling, but we are going to go, you know what, if things are happening like this, what is the new opportunity that opens up? The third level is decisions. Our decisions have so much weight to them, especially when we're employing people, when we're taking care of vulnerable people, when we want to be able to have a mission in our business that drives what we do. The decisions have to be consistent, they have to be coherent, and they have to build trust in the people we're working with. And you need to actually have a plan on, like a framework on how we make decisions. They shouldn't be just haphazard. You can have a framework that makes decision fatigue not even a thing. Like, decision fatigue comes from not having a plan on how you're going to make decisions. Then we look at strategy. Strategy is a really complex term that most people don't really understand. They think it's a plan, they think it's a business plan. No, it is the purposeful allocation of limited resources towards unlimited possibilities. Taking the time, money, people, and where will we choose to invest those into the endless possibilities that are available to us. That is our strategy. That is our choices that we make. And then finally, the execution. How we actually execute on the plans and the strategy that we have so that you can build the business that's going to help more people. So let's look at these. I have here these 4 different stages of business, and we're going to look at each one. Most of these are like plateaus that businesses often reach because the thing that got them there won't be the thing that breaks them to the next level. Imagine you're blowing up a balloon and you want a balloon that's 1 meter wide, huge balloon, right? But you're starting with this little water balloon, right? Let's blow into the water balloon. It's never going to reach that size. Now, you can keep putting pressure in it and you're going to keep blowing in. It's going to get harder and harder, but eventually it's going to pop. So we go up to the next size balloon and we hit that size balloon. We go up to this regular party balloon, we blow into it. We're trying to get it up to that meter size. And guess what? We just go absolutely blue trying to blow it, and then it pops. And then we go up to the next size and the next size. Problem is, we need to know that if we're heading there, we need to be able to know we're in this size, we're in this stage, these are decisions we're going to make, and this is where we're heading. But we're not going to try and keep blowing this balloon until it pops. We'd rather just go up to the next size balloon. Got it? All right. So first one, 50K. Here's 4 key points that I want you to really think about. This is a place where if you are doing around 50K per month, that's around $600,000 a year in revenue. Great place to start. It means that you've gone out from being an independent support worker. You've now got team. You've now got clients. You've got some things in place. You're probably using a few pieces of software. It's a great place to be. But this is where you need to make a decision around changing your business model. You're no longer going to be able to grow from there if you just have this mindset of being self-employed. You need to go from being self-employed to a business owner. A business owner can take time off. They get paid regardless of the work they put in. And it's a process that you go through of really understanding that I'm not just here time for money trade anymore. All right. This is where we want to document everything. And I cannot harp on this enough. Document everything. Use tools like Loom, take photos and screenshots and voice notes. The more that you document into something online, the more it is easy to be able to utilize that and create standard operating procedures, training manuals, all this stuff. Everyone thinks, I have to sit down for 2 weeks to create this training manual. No, you don't. You just document what you're doing. We load it into a custom GPT we built inside Profitable Provider, and you go, boom, here it is. Here's my standard operating procedure. I've got all the information now. And this is now something that is teachable, transferable, hand-offable to somebody else. So this is about scaling that. And what you're going to do is you're going to hire for your weakness. Do not replace yourself at this point. All right? Way too many people are going, yeah, I'm doing $500,000 a year. I need a GM. No, you don't. All right? What you need is someone that takes up the slack on your weakness. Maybe you're not great with finances or something like that. Now, don't hand it off altogether. Make sure there's a reporting process. Maybe you're not great at your rosters or it just kills you trying to do it. Hire for the weakness. Don't hire to replace you. You do not need to clone yourself. All right? That is probably the worst thing you can do. Lean into the thing you're really good at and let somebody else handle the things you're not good at. All right, that's stage number 1. Stage number 2 is around 150K a month, all right? At 150K a month, you've gone through this process of shaping up, you've changed your business model, you've hired for some of the weaknesses in your business, you've documented things, you've now got some processes happening. We're operating in that $2 million a year, great space to be. The problem is everyone kind of goes, right, now I need an operations manager or a general manager. No, you don't. Okay, you don't at that point because most of the time you're probably going to hire a really good support worker to be in operations. You're asking a people person to be a paper person. It's not a great thing. There are exceptions, but you know what? After thousands of businesses conversations, just don't do it. All right. We want you to be completely off the tools at this point. If you're the owner, when I say off the tools, I mean like a tradie who no longer uses the tools. All right. You shouldn't be out doing support work. But Paul, I love hanging out with my clients. Great. Be more beneficial and better use of your time is having an amazing team out there doing the work and you planning out your visits to your team, going out, seeing them with your clients, checking in. Wouldn't it be amazing if you could do that, right? And it's not dependent on you being there for money to come in. All right. You want to solve for simplicity. I can't tell you how complex I'm seeing some of these businesses and they just don't need to be. Complex does not mean growth. In fact, complexity kills growth, all right? The harder something is to get around, the less people will be able to get on board with it, understand it, especially around your systems and processes. Solve for simplicity. We want to rebuild your systems and hand this off. We want to audit what currently got you there, software, all that sort of stuff. If it's not what you need, if you're still doing a lot of things manually, make sure this is now systemized. And the hires you're going to have are for multiplication. These might be team leaders who can look after people. These might be higher level administrative assistants and administrative coordinators, leaders, not managers, leaders in this sort of space who can just take these things off and run with certain things. We don't want people who are really good at one thing trying to do another. If you need admin help, hire someone who is amazing at admin. They don't actually have to be so well versed in NDIS. They can learn that. We want someone who's just an absolute legend in your admin space, okay? All right, 2 down. These, as I said, are like plateaus that a lot of businesses reach and get to this point of going, oh, I'm just keep trying to do this because this has worked for us to get to this point. But you really do just hit like that top gear and you just can't go any faster. So next stage, decent jump, 400K. This is where we're going to talk about scaling up, all right? Because once you reach around 400K, you're at $500,000 a year, around that sort of space. Great place in business to be. And this is where we need to change model again. All right. Remember that first time around 50K, we changed model from being a self-employed person to a business owner. You're a business owner now, right? It's not reliant on you in the everyday. But now we want to start to look at how do I move to now being a founder, a person who is just the person who built this, founded it, and now I'm going to move into other areas. All right. This is where your reports and accountability are an absolute gold mine. The more information, the more that everything is measured, data is going to be your friend at this point. And if you have so much information, you don't know what to do with it, amazing. Because at this point, You should have people who own various pieces of data, pieces of reporting that can give you the information where you can make large scale decisions, all right? Because the reason is when you're a smaller provider and there's a change, you can pivot on a dime. Yeah, we're going to stop doing that. We're going to start doing this. Easy, right? When you're doing 5 mil a year, that's a decent sized business. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of moving parts. And people think that you can't have a person-centered business, but I tell you right now you can, because we're working with a bundle of guys who absolutely are. At that stage, you just need to have data so that you can make forward planning decisions, because data points like an arrow in a direction and you're going to go, is that the direction we want to go? No. Let's adjust that and go, we're going to go this way. So what are the changes we need to make? It's just like changing gears. It's so much easier when you have that data. But I talk to too many guys who come in, they go, yeah, Paul, we're doing around $5 million a year, $4 or $5 million a year. And I just ask a few questions around the information and reporting channels they have, and they don't know. And owner, you should know. Director, you should know. All right? This is where we want to start to think about hiring your replacement. Okay, now we're going to hire your replacement. It doesn't have to be a clone of you. In fact, we're looking for someone who can do what you're currently doing better. Okay, because if you've ever heard of the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, 80% of the results come from 20% of the tasks. So by now you should be focusing on those 20% really simply, right? Focusing on that 20% that gets the most output. But of that 20%, there is a further 20% where it's just, this is your area of genius. When I touch this, it turns to gold, and we want to get rid of everything else so that someone else can run with those things. Finally, $800K a month. All right, this is where we're topping around $10 million a year, and this will take you for some time. This will head you into a decently large scale business. This is where we're going to talk about stepping out, because if you can't step out of the business when you're doing around $10 million a year, then that's a real problem. We want to start looking at how we invest in people and invest in options for your business. There's a process of diversification, of niching down, of all this sort of stuff, but options are a different thing altogether. What options does the business have over the next 5 to 10 years? Where is this going to go that we're going to start to build into? Your job as owner and director becomes more about connecting and supplying your business with the right input. And this is not about you being at all the networking meetings, collecting all the cards. This is more like you connecting with the hospital directors and the government officials at this stage, right? We're looking at this because you have a certain level of clout having a business of this size and scale. It's a different room to play in. Now, a lot of guys who are really small businesses trying to play at that level, it's very hard when you don't have the backing of the business there. Your job is to go out and open doors. Open doors for yourself, for your business, and the people you collaborate with. Because at this point, you have hopefully got the idea that collaboration is absolutely key to growth. And so opening doors for other people. And someone else, we talked about hires in each one of this, someone else is responsible for the hires in your business because they are driving it in the direction you've told them to go. You're not on the ship steering it. You are the admiral at shore going, we're heading that way, bring back the goods. So this idea of scaling up your business in different stages is really important. Knowing where you're at around your mindset, knowing the market, making the right decisions, having a clear strategy, and being able to execute it is really important. Over the next 6 weeks, what we're doing in Profitable Provider is actually helping a heap of people to be able to take what they currently do it, package it in a new way, and create an entirely new product. Because we know that a lot of people in the NDIS space are going to start losing some funding soon. However, there are millions of people out there who need what's inside your head. And we can package that in a way that people don't need you in front of them all the time, but are going to happily pay for the resources, tools, and skill sets that you have. So if you want to be a part of that cohort, we're going to do this over 6 weeks. Build you a whole new process inside your business where you can drag and drop with all the tools, custom GPTs, all the resources that you need to be able to do this. We focus heavily on speed to result. So we're going to walk with you the whole way through this. You're going to work one-to-one with me. You're going to work with our coaches inside the program as well. And you'll have an amazing group of providers around who are going to help you ideate, build this out, and get you the traction that you need. Need a hand? I want you to drop impact below, because what we do in Profitable Provider is build social impact businesses that really change the lives of people around them and really lean into this idea of helping more people. All right? Hope to chat soon. Drop impact below. See you there.